Apple maple boursin on some bagel, baked potato, mango cooking sauce used as salad dressing for spring greens, and English cucumber and red bell pepper. James is having marble cake, some 3 of the chocolate truffles, and some blueberries for dessert. I'm going to talk about Invitation to a Murder and Criminal Minds Evolution, season 16.
So they never stop.
Mine's
it's not
a little bit different.
Renewal or revival of the Criminal Minds thing?
It seems like it never stops.
Because they were talking about a certain play.
So mine's spring greens, kidney beans, and leftover fried rice from last night. And yeah, I'm having 2 chocolates instead of 3. I could have had 3. Anyway.
You did focus on this Boursin package for the folks back home?
Well, I'm sure people know what Boursin is.
There we go.
It's
a proprietary...
Lovely cream cheese product. So, anyway, get this out of your way and then we can spread out a little more.
Excellent, thank you.
And, yeah, Invitation to a Murder definitely got top of the stack. It was a very good mystery in the style of Agatha Christie, who the woman mentions right away. The lead character, she likes reading Agatha Christie novels, and she's very good at solving crimes, but she
or just solving where people are from and stuff like that.
Anything, solving mysteries. She's very good mystery solver. But anyway, it says it's set in England, and from the looks of things, like I was thinking set in England maybe 1940. It seemed like that about to me. But then when they were saying there was this, like they're invited, a bunch of people are invited to this billionaire's estate, I was thinking, did they have billionaires in 1940? I don't think so. You know, this people being billionaires, that's a recent phenomenon. Anyway, so that I had a bit of a problem with. That when they mentioned that, I'm like, I don't think that even existed back then. Season 16, Criminal Minds Evolution. This, it's gory. There's a lot of, they're trying to find a sexually sadistic killer. And I don't want to give it away because it's this one, the mysteries throughout every episode, they string together, right?
It's not the way it used to be.
No, it's not the way it used to be. So I guess evolution, this is how they've evolved to seeking out. And it's not, well, I can't give it away. Okay, I'm not gonna give it away. A lot of people will watch it. Season 16, they keep watching this stuff, even though they have changed the format in a way of how they're investigating one mystery over, rather than every episode it's a new one. Unfortunately, they really didn't change the way that the round table discussions, when they're okay, we're ready to profile the killer, and they all like complete each other's sentences, it just goes around like it's one person's dialogue that has been split up into a group of people in a very unnatural way, and they haven't fixed it yet. Season 16, and they still haven't learned how people speak.
I don't think there's any disagreement, right?
No.
Inside a creative mind,
and they're completing sentences though in a very unnatural way. Mm-hmm. And nobody says, "Oh, well, I wasn't going to say that. I was going to mention that," or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like it's just, it's ridiculous.
Does it still have the Weasley guy who's supposed to be something of an intellectual? You didn't even notice it.
Some, yeah. So, but
he's the guy
he's not
I kind of like.
Focus on this.
The other one I liked is the woman who's kind of.
Yeah, she's a bigger focus on this.
So she's kind of plump, and I love her glasses. What's her name? Do you remember?
Penelope.
That's the other thing I like about her. I like her name. Named after Ulysses' wife. Faithful Penelope. So is there anything else you wanted to talk about, like some of the stuff that we saw on the trail today?
No. No, it's your turn to... No, you don't have a book with you.
No, no.
Ah.
That's one of the reasons why I was going to ask you to do that.
Oh, dear.
The other reason was I wanted to chow down on the person without doing what I'm doing now, yapping. Folks at home, you can always turn off your monitor or whatever while I'm chowing down, because I'm going to continue to. So yesterday we were talking about where I was. About a couple of fellows I met out in the road, water. Pretty nice guys, 19 years old. They're still learning. They probably know more about things than I did at that age. So hopefully they continue learning. At that age, I had a lot to learn. At age 29, I had a lot to learn. 39, I was starting to learn. When it came to politics, when was it? Yeah, about age 29. It's around that time I saw a member of an the ANC, African National Congress. It was very much a white persuasion, and it was at a no nukes demonstration, and he ended up doing the commie salute, invited everyone to kind of throw that fist up in the air while it was almost like a religious thing. I recognize this religious kind of zealotry, stuff like that, and it's almost like what do they call it? It's not synergy. Anyway, I'll think of it. Liturgy. It's something about liturgy, like it's almost like saying, I want you to keep the faith until apartheid's ended or something like that. So he almost ordered, but he invited people to throw their fists up in the air. There were quite a few people. It was at a T intersection by the library here in Lethbridge, and in front of one of the cop shops, the RCMP thing, headquarters, and I guess on the third corner, well, the RCMP headquarters is 180-degree corner. No corner at all. But on the other corner, there was the library was still is something called a Bowman, something like a cultural institution. Used to be, I think, the central school. Anyway, there was a huge whack of people. They closed off the intersection. It was a pretty substantial crowd. And I looked around, I was amazed. I was the only person with my fist not in the air. And I was just amazed at all these guys throwing that commie salute up in the air. And I was going, this guy's a commie. I wasn't sure about it. Sure, he was like George Orwell's pig. I could see a lot of George Orwell's type of sheep around. I guess it was a bit like George Orwell. This is It could have been more than 40 years ago. Not much more. 81, 82, 83, maybe 84. Would have been funny if it had been 84. 1984. Has a kind of a ring to it. And that's when my suspicions were confirmed when I was reading The Long Goose Step to Freedom, otherwise known as the Long Walk to Freedom. He didn't even call it the Long March to Freedom by Mao Zedong. The Long Stomp to Freedom. So that's Nelson Mandela's autobiography. Get that straight. And it seems like everyone, there's got to be an exception, every one of his accomplices, and I'm using that word designedly, accomplices in the African National Congress, every one of the people of what I call white persuasion, were he describes as being variously communist, Marxist, Trotskyist, well, he would have said Trotskyist, a variety of human swill, and varieties of human swill, and stuff like that. I understand I'm talking about unless you think I'm racist, I'm talking about his white accomplices. And that's when I started to figure things out. So then it wasn't too much later. I had a couple of guys from the NDP. One who was a management arts instructor. It was kind of weird. He was the exception that proved the rule. The rest of them, I suspect, were pretty right-wing. And he actually belonged to the NDP. Both of these flunkies belonged to the NDP. The other one that came along was a self-proclaimed communist. So you'll get all sorts of people saying, the NDP's not about communism and all that sort of stuff. Well, it's like Ernest C. Manning, his son Preston Manning was saying. We've got a lot of insects in our movement. He was talking about the reform movement, but it's like we're like the light that attracts the insects. I'm going, you're like the outhouse, and the commies that are attracted to the NDP. Is it the light? Is it the outhouse? It's your guys' choice. You've been choosing a lot of policies, particularly ones that involve identity politics, that whiff to me more of the outhouse than a light. A light shouldn't have a whiff to it. So, so these guys turned up at my work, actually, and they wanted me to contribute to the cause of the Sandinistas and Ortega. And what I said to the communists, I said, well, I think I must have said it to both of them, because I said, no, my sympathies were at that point in time with the Sandinistas, but it was getting more and more marginal. So as I said to at least the communists, perhaps to both of them, I said, okay, is Ortega stomping around? The later formula I came up with is military monkey suit. Unless you think I was applying that to a person of color, I apply it to people of color, I apply it to people of, non-color. Hitler stomped around in a military monkey suit. Like when Winston Churchill was stomping around in a boiler suit, it was embarrassing. It showed up his belly incredibly. I don't know, it looked semi-military. That's a military monkey suit. When George Bush Jr. does his kind of fake parachute landing on a aircraft carrier, I think it's in San Diego Harbor or something like that, he's wearing a military monkey suit. Now, I don't care what color you are. You don't get a free pass if you're a person of color. You're wearing a military monkey suit. Don't. Because I know you're advertising. You're a nether sphincter, as I put it sometimes. But I said, I'm not giving money to someone who's walking around wearing a uniform. And it seemed like there might have been some pictures of Ortega wearing something like a business suit, or I mean, did he take a bath wearing the uniform, or a shower or whatever? When he went swimming, was he wearing the uniform? You know, did he have it kind of like sewn onto his skin or something like that? These guys, Fidel Castro, military monkey suit. Hugo Chavez, military monkey suit. Putin, I don't think did, but even Nikita Khrushchev, he'd have what was it, like the Star of Lenin or something like that. Sometimes I think it was him. Maybe Brezhnev didn't have much, but no. So it's a sufficient but not a necessary condition. It's nice when they advertise that way because they're giving it away. Again, it's like they're ripping a fart, and they're really, really, it's really, really loud. It's not like one of those sneaky ones where you don't know where it's coming from. There were our people, or were people back in that Salvador Allende. I think he was a Marxist, but I'm not. Right at the end, I think he was trying to fight off Pinochet, or as his name is, I think it's I asked the guy from Ecuador, how do you say that? Do you say Pinochet? Like, hey, Pinochet, how many kids did you kill today? Was that what they were yelling and ranting? And he says Pinochet. Okay, so you're going to have to come up with something. There's fewer rhymes. You notice how you can rhyme on A rhymes, right? There's lots of them. Et, a little bit of trouble. Hey, it's even Niet, Pinochet. Niet, I got it. They're fellow travelers if they're yelling that. We know they were, basically, but Niet, Pinochet. I bet you killed someone. Yeah, I bet, or something like that. Anyway, have you killed someone? Yeah, I bet. Anyway, have you killed a lefty? Yeah, I bet. But I just said, I can't support him. I said, why does he wear them? I said, well, he has to. Otherwise, he won't get loyalty, he won't get respect. And what I said was, any culture that's at that level, where in order to get respect, to get elected, or to get into power, maintain
They're
power,
not ready for democracy.
They're not ready for democracy.
Yep.
I'm not going to fund them. I'm going to remain semi-agnostic. Now, understand, like when I heard, well, if I had a rocket launcher, if I had a rocket, and then he has it so many times. Just say it once. If I had a rocket launcher, SOB would die. But I didn't really thrill to that because it wasn't really well done. But I kind of thrilled to U2's Bullet the Blue Sky, It ends up something like, maybe it doesn't end, like in the live thing, Rattle and Hum. I think he must be playing Tempe Stadium in the Phoenix area in Arizona. And it's somewhere along the line, he's got this big spotlight. And into the eyes of America, and he's shining a light on, I guess, what he thinks of bugs or something like that. And I had him nailed. I had him nailed right away. Not crucifying him, but I had him nailed. It's like I had him pinned, a little bit like a butterfly or something like that. Maybe more like a death's head moth. That's that Sandinista leader, Daniel Ortega. So he's gotten power again in Nicaragua, and he's throwing his weight around and stuff like that, over-exercising his power. And I said to someone, I'm not going to say how closely related, but look at Ortega, he's back doing, he's changed. And all I said was, no, he hasn't. He was doing, at the very least, something like ethnic cleansing, maybe borderline genocide. on people on the Mosquito Coast. I guess they're called something like Mosquito people. I gather they're kind of English speaking. Maybe at one point in time they were colonized by the English and stuff like that. But I think they had something of a separatist movement. And you cannot have when you got commies or they're like their ilk. In this case, Ortega would be Nazi type of commie, and a nationalist would be have commie form of organization, especially economics, but other things. It's basically totalitarian. One of the things they just cannot stand is separatism. Putin hasn't fallen far from the poison tree. He can't stand the Ukrainians being separate from him. Come on closer. Let us put the bear hug on you, Ukrainians, because we, the Russian bears, just love you so much. And we're going to get so passionate with you, we're going to leave passion claw marks on your back. Come a little bit closer. You're our kind of folk. So big and so weak and so small. Come a little bit closer. Yeah. So, I got it right, and I was learning. I was against Bush Sr. going into Iraq. The bombing, the invasion, had to be rabidly against it. And Saddam Hussein turned me. At the end of that, I was kind of hoping Bush Sr. got it right. He didn't go in and pull Iraq apart. He knew that it would take, he wasn't CIA, he would have been long-term CIA. He went back to at least 1963. He was using his oil company, his Zapata oil, as a cover for his CIA dealings. He was the one of the contacts, maybe the contact for the CIA when it came to, I think it was the commission that covered up the JFK assassination. There was apparently a George Bush who was contact. Of course, the CIA said, not that George Bush, later, not the one that headed the CIA, roughly 75 and or 76, somewhere in there. So, Saddam Hussein setting those oil wells on fire, huge environmental disaster. At that point in time, I'm going, no, this guy's, that funny, it's the F word, 4-letter F word with a little stroke at the bottom. What do you get when you do a little stroke? E. You get an E. He's evil. He was evil. There's evil that exists in the world today. And for a lot of you nifty, shifty, hefty lefties, a lot of you guys qualify.
These truffles are delicious.
Many of you, more of the people that you support, are that 4-letter word, F with a little bar underneath, evil, 4-letter F word. So Saddam Hussein, and then I went to, I think it was later on in the year, I think that was early 91, later on in the year, I went to the former Soviet Union. It was still the Soviet Union, I think, at that point in time, but Yeltsin had done his, what could have been his last stand on the tank, and stood down I guess it was the troops that were sent to arrest him, put an end to, at least an attempt at a democratization. Didn't work out very well, but that's the Russian story. And I'm not talking about every Russian, but the vast majority just, it's like, here's one guy's 50% Russian, 50% Polish. What he said, this was during the Yeltsin era, it was like he's looking forward to Putin. Well, anticipating, not looking forward. Because I don't think Putin was even on the horizon at that point in time. It would have been about 1995. He said, now understand he's half Russian. The Russians always go for the strong guy. No, he didn't mention it. He's talking about smell. The strong smell. No. Anyway, what they perceive of as a strong guy. Unfortunately, so many strong guys are strong in a brittle kind of way. And they don't actually give, and they just snap. Hitler was that way. He had no flexibility, that guy. And so the only option for him was suicide and that sort of stuff.
Aggressive people only respect aggression. That's all they
And
respect.
I guess maybe that's what this guy was saying about Russians. I'm not sure what it is. Anyway, that's what he said. The Russians always go for the strong guy. There are all sorts of exceptions, but they only prove the rule. Now, when I saw the shape that Russia was in and what they thought of Gorbachev, that's Gorbachev. I know there's a friend of mine who went to the Soviet Union when it really was the Soviet Union, but just a half a year before. His memoir of that, he just, one time he mentions Gorbachev, and he just said Russia's dictator. Gorbachev was a dictator. Get that straight. He might have wanted to do some democratic moves, but he was a dictator. So the folks there, I knew one guy in particular, but it was a general. He had been a huge supporter of Gorbachev. He was our guide. Hope he's still alive, but I think at this point in time he's well past the average life expectancy of man in Russia. And he couldn't stand Gorbachev by that time, in 1991. There's a reason why the commies tried their coup there in 1991, later 1991 in August or something like that. They would have got huge support, except Yeltsin was able to stand off the military. People were sick of Gorbachev. His policies weren't working. So people were saying, we pretend to work, these people in Russia, and they pretend to pay us. Now that would have applied to communism all along after Stalin. Stalin was, you're going to be a subordinate, right? You're going to volunteer to work Saturdays, right? Yeah, kind of like slave labor with average citizens and stuff like that. So you work 6 days a week, try and get the
And well, that always is. That's how it is with progressive people anyway. They're always just pretending to work. You have to have the whip on them, or they're not going to do it. And we can't have that in democratic society. You can't. We don't want it. Can't have it. So we can't have aggressive people in democratic society.
Well, we should do as much as we can to make sure that aggressive people are put in jail. For the ones that are legitimate citizens, the ones that are coming from away from elsewhere, they shouldn't be allowed in. If they're let in, it should be only in something like a probationary period. Now, that's when I say probation. You're assuming they're guilty of. You kind of have to do that.
Yeah, you have to.
You cannot let folks in like.
Or you could say, what is that? The Reagan thing: trust but verify. So, you don't trust. You just verify. You have to verify.
You actually should have to earn your way into a democracy. You cannot let what happened. The Americans were really casual about. Talk about racist, come on in, you guys from Saudi. Come on in from elsewhere. We don't care if you're terrorists. We know you're just terrorists at home.
That's it. Wrap it up. 10 seconds.
So, tune in. We're going to be talking more about it next time.